Breaking news, guys. China affiliated hackers hit critical U.S. infrastructure. I've got a lot to share with you guys today, and some interesting things happening right now with Ukraine actually being hit most recently. In fact, Ukraine's biggest mobile operator was recently hit by one of the biggest cyber attacks of war so far. Now, what's interesting is that President Joe Biden actually, as of just hours ago, announced $200 million dollars in additional military aid to the Ukraine during a visit from none other than Zelensky to the White House. Now, you got to wonder, was this a coordinated effort? I mean, given that, the Ukraine just so happened to be Ukraine's top mobile operator hit by one of the biggest cyber attacks of war that we've seen so far on the very same day that he showed up in town to the United States, to the White House, to request additional funding from the United States of America. Was this, a timed, coordinated effort, or is this just mere coincidence? I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the term predictive programming. Well, there's this new movie, and it's called Leave the World Behind. And if you haven't heard of that, well, basically, predictive programming is kind of like basically a movie would come out and it would show imagery, or maybe the entire movie is based on a set of circumstances that we have not yet experienced here in the United States or in the world, and it kind of foreshadows what is to come. Now, a lot of people are talking about this new movie called Leave the World Behind, and how a hidden QR code appears briefly over a cyber attack. In fact, let me just kind of show just a little bit to you guys. And so essentially, a hidden QR code appears briefly over a cyber attack power outage map during the movie. Now, this could very well be worth taking a closer look, but you know how these things go, right? This could literally be nothing, or it could be everything. The thing is we have to be ready. We have to be prepared. We have to pay attention to what's happening. By the way, guys, we are live. If you could take a quick second, drop a like for the video and drop me a comment. Let me know if you're able to see and hear me okay. I would really, really appreciate that, guys. So now, that's not the only thing, though. In fact, there's a lot of questions that are coming out. In fact, on Twitter, Shadow of Ezra actually asks the question, or essentially makes this comment. If there is a cyber attack next year, our government is responsible, just like they were for stealing the 2020 election. Not my words, these are hers. And ultimately, she says that they would be blaming it on the Russians or someone else. Right? Do you disagree? Let me know what you guys feel about that in the comment section down below. But China has initiated a massive cyber attack on United States infrastructure, and this is a developing story. In fact, these warnings, they have been out there for months. The WEF has been telling us about a cyber attack that could potentially wipe out everything. And, China's already here and has been ultimately attacking our infrastructure, coming out, with a gold-backed yuan ever since the dollar has been a major target by the BRICS nation to be abandoned. Now, we've seen a lot of evidence of this, but let me share a little bit more detail with you regarding the China-affiliated hackers that have hit critical U.S. infrastructure first, okay? So what we have here is a situation that ultimately involves computer systems for water, for power, communications, and transportation bodies have ultimately been affected. Now, the hacking groups affiliated with China have targeted critical infrastructure, assets in the United States, including utilities, communication, and transport. This is very concerning, guys. This is very concerning. In fact, even more concerning is not being protected. So, if you'd like to protect your home and your family, make sure to get your free home warranty quote. There is a link for it in the description down below. A typical plan covers heating systems, ducts, plumbing systems, electrical systems, water heaters, kitchen appliances, including your oven, your range, dishwasher, your microwave, garbage disposal. So Definitely do not allow yourself or your family to be caught off guard. Never be caught off guard again by any type of very unexpected, very expensive home repairs. Again, get your free home warranty quote. There's a link in the description down below this video. But as you can see here, the hack is also seen as a part of China's Volt Typhoon cyber campaign, which the United States government has been observing for about a year now. So we've kind of been aware of this, but the question is, do you feel as though the US government, our government, has done enough to make you feel safe? Or do you think that our government is lacking in that department? I know a lot of people have mixed opinions, so I'll let you guys sound off in the comment section. By the way, if you're new to the channel, please drop a like for the video and consider subscribing to the channel if you appreciate updates like this one here. Hackers affiliated with the Chinese People's Liberation Army have allegedly intruded into the computer systems of dozens, not one, not two, but dozens of critical infrastructure units of the US government. We're not even talking about like corporations that are based here in the United States. They're in the US government. That's a problem, guys. Like, I'm not wearing a tinfoil hat. This is confirmed. In fact, these include water, power utilities, oil and gas pipelines, transportation, communication entities. It is speculated that this is part of a broader effort of the PLA to hit logistics targets in terms of the U.S.-China conflict in the Pacific region. Now, both China and the United States have blamed each other for years on cyber attacks, and this latest series of alleged attacks from the Chinese has been referred to as the Volt Typhoon campaign. Key victims of the campaign include a port on the West Coast, water utility systems in Hawaii, a critical oil and gas pipeline, and a Texas power grid operator, guys. They're hitting states here in the United States. And these are just a few states. Now, you got to wonder, why are they hitting Hawaii? Is it the nuclear weapons that we have in Hawaii that could potentially be used if there were a active conflict between the two countries? Maybe they want to kind of take those out beforehand, or at least have control over some of the critical infrastructure in an area where nuclear weapons could be present. Your guess is as good as mine. Now, here's an interesting one. The Ukraine's biggest mobile operator suffers massive. Rather interesting, okay? Because today just so happened to be the day where Vladimir Zelensky visited the White House today to see President Joe Biden. And so it's interesting how this took place on, the biggest mobile network operator was hit on Tuesday. I guess that would be the equivalent of like maybe a Verizon Wireless, maybe a T-Mobile or AT&T, somewhere along the lines of that for the Ukraine, right? Now, thankfully, none of those particular networks were hit to my knowledge as of today, as of this moment, but the Ukraine's biggest mobile network operator was hit Tuesday by what appeared to be the largest cyber attack of the war with Russia so far, knocking out mobile and internet services for millions, and the air raid alert systems in parts of the Kiev region. So, why is this so interesting? Well, this came out just hours ago. And I'm going to talk about why this is so interesting here. Its CEO, I can't pronounce his first or last name, but you guys can read that there on the screen. By the way, if you guys want to follow along, I've shared some of these articles that I'm covering in the description of this video. If you want to follow along, I like to cite my sources wherever I can. Some things I won't be able to say, but you kind of understand that I don't want to get too censored. Yeah. So anyway, so we've got, looks like we've got nearly 400 people on the live here, and I don't even think half of you guys hit the like button. So if you could, definitely show some support. Let's get this information out to even more people. By hitting the like button, it just tells YouTube, hey, this is a good video. Share this information out to more people so that they can be aware. Its CEO said that the attack was a result of the war with Russia, although he did not say which Russian body he believed to be responsible. and that the company's IT infrastructure had been partially destroyed. So, now why is this interesting? Well, just so happened to be the largest Ukraine mobile network that they have. I mean, I don't know what the largest mobile network that we have here in the United States is. I don't know if it's Verizon, maybe AT&T's bigger. I don't know who's actually bigger, or who's got the best network. But the simple fact of the matter is this: Biden just announced $200 million in what? Additional military aid to the Ukraine. I wonder if this attack on the Ukraine's largest mobile network had anything to do with swaying Biden's decision to announce an additional $200 million in military aid to the Ukraine. Um, your guess is as good as mine. The U.S. has roughly $4.4 billion remaining in weapons that it can provide from Pentagon's stockpiles. So, here we have Vladimir Zelensky, you got President Biden sitting here right by a cozy fire. Um, you know, so you got President Biden earlier today announcing an additional $200 million in military aid packages to the Ukraine, um, to uh, to help with the war-weary nation in its ongoing effort and fight against Russia. In fact, the announcement came as Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky was visiting the White House and meeting with congressional leaders in a plea for more U.S. aid. Please, United States, send us another $200 million. Why do you need it, Vladimir Zelensky? Well, we need it for a number of reasons. But keep in mind, we were just attacked. Our largest mobile network in the Ukraine was attacked. We need another $200 million. Now, of course, American citizens here, on fixed income like Social Security, SSI, SSDI, many people are like, wow, we need increases to Social Security benefits. There's lots of Social Security clawbacks taking place. It's amazing how you can just stroke the pen and issue another $200 million to Ukraine. Meanwhile, many recipients on Social Security receiving letters from the SSA, getting letters saying that they've been overpaid and that they want money from us. So I understand why some people have issues with another $200 million going to the Ukraine when Americans here at home would have preferred to have that $200 million allocated elsewhere. Quote, I just signed another $200 million drawdown of the Ukraine. I'll be coming. This is what President Biden told reporters during an on-camera meeting in the Oval Office with Zelensky. Looks like a cozy fire, cozy enough. Biden looks to be rather excited here. But yeah, so that's what's definitely going down in the White House. The roughly $200 million in weapons and equipment will be taken from Pentagon stockpiles and include additional ammunition for the high mobility artillery rocket systems, also known as the HIMARS, the high speed anti radiation missiles, anti armor systems, artillery rounds, missiles, demolition munitions, 4 million rounds of small arms ammunition. So quite a bit of aid is headed that way. So, you know, this is a developing story. It's a developing situation here, guys. Pat Pfeiffer says, "I can't. What is a black swan?" I don't know if you're being sarcastic or if you're being serious with your question there. Sweet Metal says we're all broke. Born Bold says, funny. Nobody saves nothing about Nobody saves nothing about where all this money is coming from. That's a good point. Nobody does talk about where this money is coming from. But we all know that the money is coming from American taxpayers, U.S. taxpayers. Now, what pile is this money coming from? That's a good question. That we don't know. But we do know, it ultimately comes from the U.S. taxpayers because where else does the government spend? The government doesn't produce products. The government only taxes us. So the only revenues that they have is, money that we've paid into it. through our taxes. So just know that you paid for it some way or another, rather whether directly or indirectly. So, going back though, both China and the United States have been blaming each other for these cyber attacks, and this has been going for a while. So far, these intrusions have not caused any disruptions, thankfully. However, the attack on systems in Hawaii has been suggested to aim at potential disruptions to the operations of the Pacific Fleet. The hackers running the Volt Typhoon campaign have stolen employee credentials with backdoor entries, and they've used arbitrary home and workplace routers in order to hide their tracks, likely using VPNs and other forms of, um, you know, uh, technology that allows them to hide the source of the exploitation. Now, of course, the Typhoon attacks have been active for at least a couple of years now and have ultimately affected multiple sectors, including manufacturing, education, communication, information technology. So this is fairly significant, guys. So, what are your thoughts on this so far? I'd love to hear from you guys. Like, what are your thoughts on everything that we've covered up to this point? Do you feel safe here? Do you feel that it's safe to conduct any type of online activity with all of these cyber attacks taking place? I'd love to hear from you guys. I'd love to get your take on that one. So I'm gonna jump into the comments just for a second here. Um, we have no money or natural resources to trade. That's the issue, according to Ember. We have to pay. We have to pay, and our generations after will pay for it. You know what? That's a valid point because we're already in what, 33, 34 trillion dollars in national debt. So that's not going to get paid back anytime soon. Now, here's another thing. Let's talk about New York for a second. So a group of New York hospitals got hit as well. Hackers had access to patient information for months in New York hospital. Yeah. So a lot's been going on in New York, and I didn't want to just kind of like gloss over this. In fact, this update came out just hours ago. A group of New York hospitals and healthcare centers were targeted in a cyber attack that for 2 months allowed hackers access to patients' private information. Okay, now before I even go any further, think about what kind of information a hospital has on you: date of birth, name, address, phone number, social security number, probably your banking information if you've ever paid with a credit card, if you've ever paid with a debit card, or maybe you made a check payment to the bank. Perhaps they have your banking account information. They may have, if you've ever paid with like an e-check, more than likely they're going to have access to the hospital would likely have access to your bank account number, your routing number, and whatnot. So, not to mention your medical history. So just think about all of the different ways that that information could be leveraged and sold on the dark web. Not a good look, guys. Not a good look. So the New York attack targeted three separate facilities in the Hudson Valley: Health Alliance Hospital, Margaretville Hospital, and Mountainside Residential Care Center, which all operate under the same parent company within the hospital conglomerate, Westchester Medical Center Health Network. Now, here's the thing. When you say network, because that's the name of that's in the name of the company. When you say network, chances are there's a lot of information sharing here. So that leads me to think that it's possible that if you haven't necessarily been to one of these hospitals, maybe there are other hospitals in their network that information could possibly be shared with. And then, of course, that information could be at risk. So, in other words, who knows how many other hospitals' information could theoretically be at risk with this cyber attack that took place in New York? Health Alliance Incorporated, the corporate parent of the three facilities, said Monday that it began mailing notification letters to patients whose information may have been involved in a data security incident. The security issue was acknowledged publicly in October by the broader Westchester Health Network, but few details were released at that time about the nature or the extent of the breach as an investigation got underway. So we have new updates about this taking place right now. Steph Fran says no hospital in 15 years. Mr. Renee Moreno says NYC now, be well. Um, let's see here. Combat Black says only 4 likes. Come on, guys. I hope we have more than 4 likes. Um, let me know what you guys are seeing. But yeah, so it's it's an ongoing situation to say the least, and I certainly hope that the United States government will do what it needs to do to secure not only our borders, but also secure our infrastructure. The border situation is a whole nother story. But, simple fact of the matter is this, guys. We need protection. We're paying an exorbitant amount of money in taxes. And, you know, for us to expect a certain level of security here in the United States is only reasonable. It's only reasonable. So, drop me some comments down below. Let me know what you guys think should be the priority for our US government right now. We've got nearly 400 people in the live today. If you guys haven't already, please drop a quick like for the video. I would really appreciate it. And if you appreciate updates like this, definitely subscribe to the channel. And if you would like to protect your home and your family, make sure to get your free home warranty quote. There's a link in the description down below. It only takes about 10 seconds. And so I'll leave a link for you guys for that free home warranty quote in the description down below. I hope you guys appreciated today's updates, and I look forward to hanging out with you on the next one. Take care.